Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Inside the Cage. I'm your host, Eddie Mafia. It's been a while, not gonna lie, I've gone on sort of a hiatus, and I apologize for that. But we're back, and I'm excited to get back into everything. This year, I don't know. This season, I think I'm going to be talking a little more stuff other than just like UFC events going on. I really want to dive into things like college wrestling, like that season's coming up soon, all the things going around like with that, and then as well as some boxing stuff too. So I'm going to be mixing up a little bit more. So I'm really looking forward to really like diving into more of the like combat sports, realm, you know what I mean? So just things like that. But I'm really looking forward to getting back after it. And to put it in perspective, the last time that I was on here was even before Khabib McGregor. So it's been a while, so I'm excited to get back and be getting back into it, talking about all the recent stuff that's been going on. There's been so much that's happened in the last year. You could start anywhere between the new champions and like McGregor, Khabib stuff, like that whole situation, and there's been a lot. But today I'm going to be diving back. I'm starting up, I guess, with UFC 241, recapping that. But before I get into it, I guess I want to share a little bit more of my experience again for those of you who might not have seen or listened to, I should say, my prior episodes. Now we got the video component, so we're going to be going on YouTube now too. But basically, a little bit about me. I'm a second-degree black belt in Kyokushin Karate. I started that when I was about 4 years old. I got my black belt when I was 11, and then my second-degree black belt when I was about 13. And then I wrestled from 8th grade all throughout high school, and that's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, was to start that sport. Those of you who wrestled, you can probably relate to that. At least I hope you can. So I wrestled all throughout high school, and now I actually coach middle school wrestling. Shout out to the Yorktown Cornhuskers over there. I wrestled at New Rochelle High School, so shout out to the Huguenots over there as well. And now I actually box, so that's pretty cool. I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking to get some amateur stuff sometime soon. If you guys know me, you know I've been training for a while, and I'm looking forward to getting into that also. But yeah, guys, so we're talking UFC 241 today. It happened Saturday, August 17th at the Honda Center in Anaheim. The headliner was Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic 2. They had fought about a year ago, so this was the second one. The co-main event was Anthony Pettis versus Nate Diaz. So basically, it was a great card, but I'm going to be talking about the top three, I guess, or so, the co-main, the one before that, and then the main event. Prior to the co-main event, you had Yoel Romero versus Paulo Costa. Middleweight guys, middleweight fight. These guys are complete units. Just the way they look, they're just big, strong, fast. It's a crazy division to be in, honestly. They're just you look at them and you get scared almost. So basically, Yoel Romero is a seasoned veteran. He's 42 years old. He's been around for a long time. Now his record is 13-3 in the UFC, or his professional record, I should say. Costa's up and coming. He's undefeated, 12-0, with the majority of his wins coming by way of knockout. He was able to eke out the decision in this fight. And Yoel Romero hasn't fought in over a year since his loss to Rob Whittaker, so he was bouncing back off of that. But it was a very entertaining fight, to say the least. A lot of guys actually thought that it could have gone either way. A lot of people even tweeted out in favor of Romero. But before we get into that, it was just super entertaining. Just back and forth most of the fight. Costa, I think he landed more significant strikes and combinations. He kind of put it all together more so than I think Romero did. Costa, he ultimately, like I said, he landed greater percent of significant strikes thrown. Dana White in the post fight press conference basically was saying how he gave 2 rounds to Costa, 1 to Romero, but he said it's one of those fights where you can't be disappointed with the winner at the end of the day, because it was just such an amazing performance from the two of them. Paulo Costa got a bonus because he won for performance of the night, so that just goes to show how entertaining it really was. But you had guys like Chris Weidman, Rafael Dos Anjos, Michael Chiesa, Dennis Bermudez, Mike Perry. Well, Mike Perry said it was a draw, but those guys before all tweeted in favor of Romero. Also, John Jones tweeted, definitely a good fight. I don't see how that was a unanimous decision, Costa. So when you have John Jones talking like that, it's definitely something to think about. But I do think it was a great fight at the end of the day. I don't think it's wrong that they gave Costa the decision. So shout out to those guys. I mean, hats off to them. Both really talented fighters, and Costa's got a bright future ahead of him. I'm sure anyone can agree with me who's seen him fight before. Okay, moving into the co-main event, we have Anthony Pettis versus Nate Diaz. Basically two household names in the UFC if you're a fight fan. They've been around for a while. Diaz managed to score the takedown in the first round, and it's difficult for other fighters to do that against Pettis. He's had really good takedown defense in the past. So he was able to score points at the end of the round also by gaining control of his back, I should say, at the end of round 1, and that really adds up in the judges' eyes. Round 2, Diaz pretty much dominated the whole time. Just everything from strikes, took him down again. He just kept pressure the whole time. Pettis had a hard time taking control, I guess, of the octagon. He was backing up against the cage for the majority of it. He had difficulty bouncing back from that. And then basically for round 3, it was the same thing. Diaz all the way. Through the end point in the round, Diaz almost ended it. Diaz, I think Pettis was pretty close to the ref could have stopped it, I think, because he was just getting hit a lot of times and the ref was yelling at him to defend himself, which he ultimately did. So they were able to go. They went all 3 rounds, but I think it was a great win for Diaz. It was completely one-sided. He dominated the whole thing, and the crowd was in his favor. He's a California guy, so they were loving it over there. Just some stats right now. I'm looking at what I wrote down. Diaz, he had a total of 205 strikes landed to Pettis' 86, and significant strikes. Diaz landed a total of 114 as opposed to Pettis' 69. So you could just see by those two right there that he just totally dominated the entire time. After this in the post-fight press conference, that there were questions about a potential matchup for Diaz McGregor 3. Nate was pretty much in response to his response was, listen, if he was saying that if it comes his way and that the matchup, that people want the matchup, then the people will get in touch with who they want to or who they need to, and then they'll get it going. But he says if he's not opposed, then so I guess we kind of have to wait and see if that's going to make itself happen. But I'm sure I know that's a fight that all the fans would love to see, Diaz McGregor 3. So we're just going to have to see about that. All right, moving into the main event, we had Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic 2. They fought last time in July 2018, and Cormier knocked out Stipe in the first round, 4 minutes in. Definitely a different outcome second time around. But giving Cormier credit, he was winning the fight, I would say. So basically, starting from round 1, he completely dominated in terms of strikes. He took him down like a big slam. Everyone loves it when he does that, So wrestling is his specialty. So he completely had control. So round 1, I gave to DC. I would also give him round 2, even though he's starting to look a little bit more fatigued. I just think he had a good amount of octagon control, things like that. You could basically, it was a little bit slow, but I think he would have, being the champion, Stipe didn't do anything too crazy in round 2 that I would give that round to him. And then basically after round 1, though, DC's fall, it was that he didn't utilize his wrestling at all, ultimately. He pretty much just tried to started stand toe-to-toe with Stipe the entire time. He did not utilize his wrestling at all, which, and his coaches were telling him to, and later on he was saying how that was what he was most disappointed in, was that he wasn't listening to his coaches and he didn't do what he was trained to do ultimately, because that's, probably his strongest area. Anyway, at the end of round 3, towards round 3, DC really started getting tired, but I think he was still up on the scorecards going into round 4. But in round 4, Stipe just turned it up, pushing the pace. He was throwing crazy combinations to the body, to the head, and then basically he caught DC with, he started really, like I was saying, just pummeling the body with a left kind of hook uppercut thing to the gut, and then basically he caught him with just one vicious one and kind of knocked the wind out of him. Put him down, and then he was just got on top and just started wailing, and then that was pretty much the end. So great win for Stipe. He's the champ. And and also, you know, a great run for DC as well. Hats off to both those guys. You know, they were talking about, you know, there were questions about DC's potential retirement. You know, he's 40. He's had a great run in the UFC. So, you know, it's obviously hard, he was saying, to make a decision in the moment. You can't really just, you know, you have to think about these things. You have to take some time to think about it. But he says it's going to have to be something him and his wife will discuss. They're going to have to make a educated decision, in DC's words, about it. Yeah, so, I mean, we'll see what happens in terms of that. I have a feeling, though, he's going to want to come back and at least get out with a win. I feel like, not even if it's not a title fight, just a good fight. And if he comes out with a win, I feel like he'll be satisfied in that sense. But I do think he was winning the fight prior to that. I think he should have gone to the scorecards, depending on how round 5 went. DC probably would have taken it. But, you know, he was saying also, you know, people were complimenting his performance in the first early rounds, but he said, you know what, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day I lost, and that's what matters. And he's right. So yeah, that's basically my wrap up for UFC 241. Yeah, everyone. So I'm just looking forward again to getting back here and providing some more content, some recaps, my opinions and thoughts on things. So I'm really looking forward to diving back into it. This year, I'm going to be posting once a week. So get ready. Just be on the lookout for it. Different topics, subjects each week. Next week, I kind of want to dive into the McGregor controversy. I'm trying to have some other people come on too at some points. But yeah, I think I'm going to be talking about some of the recent developments with the notorious Conor McGregor. It's definitely a hot topic. So yeah, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. So this is Eddie Mafia signing out for Inside the Cage. We'll see you next time.